Dark Souls is, in my opinion, one of the gems of this generation. It is an action dungeon crawler with beautiful environments and incredibly fun monsters to slay. The game is often stated as being one of the hardest games of recent years. Hell, even their subtitle for the PC release was Prepare to Die. I feel that this difficult reputation that it has gotten has made some people disregard the game in fear of it just being too hard for them. But the thing is, Dark Souls isn't that hard of a game. That's not to say that it holds your hand by any means, but that is what so many people enjoy about the game. Its difficulty is fair, and you should never feel cheated when you die. The mechanics of the game are very simple. While there is a wide array of weapons to choose from, they each have a very small and understandable moveset, allowing players to quickly adapt to a weapon. Almost every weapon that is found in the game could easily be considered viable for PvE. But it isn't usually the mechanics that people find rough in Dark Souls. It is instead their impatience that becomes their typical downfall. Many players simply rush into an environment without examining what might be afoot. A quick look around will usually reveal pressure plate traps or ledges in which you should tread lightly. Many players end up complaining about the so-called artificial difficulty when it comes to areas such as the Hellkite Bridge. Upon examining the bridge, one can very easily assess that the bridge is burned with charred corpses and the like scattering the location. And even if you do get caught by the trap, if you're at full health, it simply will not kill you. You will take a massive amount of damage, but you can get up safely and have the chance to run to safety. Having subtle traps does not make the game artificially difficult. It just means that you need to be more observant of your surroundings. The developer, From Software, even implemented a system into the game that allows players to have access to tips throughout the experience. These tips come in the form of messages on the floor left by other adventurers throughout the game. Many will warn of dangers and traps that lie ahead, though there are some areas that may indeed be considered grand traps of sorts. The fight with Capra Demon comes to mind. The reason behind this isn't the boss fight itself, but rather the room in which you battle the monster. It is an incredibly small room with multiple enemies inside. You are not given a whole lot of time to analyze the situation before you are bum rushed by the creatures that lie in wait. Because of this, you are quite likely to die in your first time through. However, the great thing is that death is not final in Dark Souls. In fact, you lose nothing if you can make it back to where you died without dying again on your run back. Dark Souls uses death as a learning tool. Dying is not a condition for failure. Forfeiting, on the other hand, is. Speaking of death, there are a number of checkpoints in the form of bonfires to be found in Dark Souls. These bonfires heal you back up and restore your healing item back to its full capacity. Just so long as you remember to sit by every bonfire that you come across, no death should set you too far back. A common complaint that I see from new players to Dark Souls is that they get one-shot. I can tell you with utmost certainty that there's practically nothing in the game that will one-shot you, even if you remain at soul level 1 without armor. Seriously, you can tank a hit from a boss under the assumption that you are at full health prior to the blow and still survive the shot, and that is at level 1 with little to no armor. If you are playing normally, you will be leveling your vitality stat, granting more health, and you will likely find armor sets boosting your defense. In this very video I am fighting what I consider to be one of the harder bosses, Ornstein and Smough, at level 1 wearing armor that you start the game with. As you can see, I unfortunately get hit, but do not die. As long as you are careful enough to not get hit directly after, you will be fine. On top of the message system, From Software also allows you to summon other players to assist in slaying bosses, should you desire their assistance. So if you truly find yourself having some issues on a boss, you can always look for help from other players. Finally, the biggest tip that I can grant to new players is to upgrade your weapons. The more damage you deal, the less time you will have to make mistakes. For some reason, I find that people really underestimate the ability to forge weapons at the blacksmiths found around Lordran. Getting a weapon from its base value to a plus 5 status only costs a few thousand souls, and can easily be obtained before the fight with the gargoyles in the bell tower. All in all, Dark Souls is too fun of a game to let go just because of its difficult reputation. If you haven't played this amazing game yet, please, if you get the chance, try it out. And while it may seem a tad difficult at times, remember nothing in this game is impossible, and may only require a bit of analysis of the situation. Patience is key, folks.